As of today, it has been about a year since I've started playing Geometry Dash, and there was a lot of stuff that happened. 1 year ago, specifically the day I've started playing Geometry Dash, my hardest was Polargeist, but now my hardest is Bloodbath, and I've beaten a lot of difficult levels like Aftermath, Cataclysm, Accu, Ice Carbon, Diablo X, and many more. But the question you might be asking is, how did I get here? I mean, it's only been a year and I've beaten Bloodbath. So in this video, I'll be telling you everything that happened during my first year of playing this game. On October 26, 2024, everything started. I saw my friend Jay the Ninja 7 play this game called Geometry Dash. I've seen videos about the game before and also played the scratch version of Geometry Dash, which was terrible, but I was just not motivated enough to play that game. But on this day, I finally decided to download the game, and right after downloading, I started playing the game. The first few levels were pretty easy. Dry out and base after base took me a bit longer because of the upside down sections, but I beat them really quickly. But for Can't Go and Jumper, it wasn't the same case. Since I wasn't even using practice mode, I had to sight read everything every time I reached a new section. And since I sucked at the game back then, progress was really slow. But eventually, after like 30 minutes, I beat in both Can't Go and Jumper, and was about to try and beat Time Machine, since that's the next level after Jumper. But suddenly, I took a break from the game, mainly because of two reasons. One, I was getting really frustrated very often because of me dying over and over again. And two, I was mainly into Minecraft at the time, and Geometry Dash just wasn't a priority for me back then. So, because of these reasons, I took a break from the game and focused on other things. But everything would change on November 30th. This is the day where I decided to play Geometry Dash for fun, since I was getting a bit bored of Minecraft. I was trying to get past 80% on blast processing that day, since it was a pretty easy level in my opinion. But it wasn't going very well. I was dying to the UFO and ship near 70%, and I didn't really think I was beating the level today, let alone getting 80%. But suddenly, this happened. I beat blast processing out of nowhere. This wasn't a new hardness, and the level was still pretty easy for me back then, but I was pretty surprised to know that I could still actually beat levels I never thought it would. But that wasn't the end, because on the next day, December 1st, something insane happened that I couldn't even believe at the time. Hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to join my Discord server using the link in the description. Anyways, let's keep on going. I was playing Geometry Dash for fun again. I was trying to beat Time Machine since that's the level I dropped before taking a break from the game, and I had the motivation to do so because of me beating blast processing the day before. I was actually progressing quicker than before, getting new bests left and right. I felt like I was going to beat this, and after about 5 minutes, this happened. I beat Time Machine. I honestly couldn't even believe it. In only 5 minutes, I've beaten the level that I dropped a month ago. Fast forward 3 hours, I was trying to get past 50% on NxtIbsxt, mainly because I wanted to keep on progressing through the main levels. And after a few attempts, I got past 50%. But I knew this was too easy. I wanted more. So I played for a bit longer, hoping to get past 70% or 80%. But then out of nowhere, I beat NxtIbsxt. I was honestly shocked. I mean, just a few days ago, I couldn't even beat blast processing, and now I've beaten both Time Machine and NxtIbsxt. Since I've already beaten Time Machine and NxtIbsxt, the next logical level to beat is Cycles. It's between the two levels that I've beaten, Time Machine and NxtIbsxt, and I haven't beaten it yet, so I started playing. I previously had around 50% as my best, so I was pretty confident that I could beat it. Honestly, I think Cycles is the hardest out of the three, and I knew this was going to take a bit longer than both Time Machine and NxtIbsxt. But after only 6 minutes of playing, this happened. I beat Cycles. 3 main levels in a day. I couldn't even believe what I just did. I was so happy and motivated that I decided to actually grind out the game for once and not taking a break every like 2 days or something. Interestingly, on December 7th, I posted a video of me beating an auto version of Bloodbath as a joke. There wasn't any audio in the video since OBS bugged out, but I remember saying, yeah, I don't think I'm beating this legit. Sure, Tan. Sure. After beating the 3 main levels, I was playing Geometry Dash more than ever. I was so dedicated that I unlocked Glow, which I had to beat 10 map packs to get, beaten 6 main levels, the notable ones being Electroman Adventures after dying at 96%, Theory of Everything, Clutterfunk, and Geometrical Dominator, all in around 2 weeks. Sure, progress was pretty slow, but I was still playing Minecraft some of the time, so if you consider that, this is kinda quick, I guess. But on December 22nd, I felt like I had to take on a harder level. I decided to take on my first demon, the Nightmare. The Nightmare is one of the easiest demons in the entire game, which was perfect for me, since my hardest was probably a random harder rated gauntlet level that I don't even remember. So grinding the level was really painful since, as mentioned before, I wasn't using practice mode, so I had to sight read everything if I get to a new part, which is really painful than you think. This really slowed down my progression as I would forget some parts of the level and messing up, but I kept on grinding, and after around 160 attempts, I finally beat my first demon. It felt so good. I felt like I was actually progressing, but things will get even crazier after this. Most of the time when I was at home, I was star grinding while being in a basement with my good friend Polaris, aka Sentinal. While I was here, I decided to beat my second demon, the Lightning Road. Nothing interesting really happened while trying to beat this level. I would progress slowly, and eventually I would beat the level in around 100 attempts. After beating the Lightning Road, I kept grinding the game, even beating Hexagon Force and getting 1.8 thousand stars. But on January 5th, 2025, I was playing Electrodynamics. I had 30-something% as my new best for so long that I had to at least get a new best. And after a while, I got 63%. Which is pretty insane since I wasn't still using practice mode. I kept grinding the level 2 days later, and I was slowly getting close to beating the level. I may or may not have died at 97%, but I kept on going. I knew that I couldn't give up now. And after 706 attempts, I beat the level. Sure, this was the new hardest, but there was no time to celebrate. Because behind the scenes, I was grinding another level that will become my new hardest. The level is Club Step. Before beating Electrodynamics, my personal best on Club Step was 69%, unintentional. But since I have no other level to grind other than Club Step, I would progress really quickly. On January 8th, I started grinding the level. And after about an hour of grinding, I got 65 to 175%. I felt like I was going to beat it pretty quickly since I had the level in 2 runs already, only after like an hour of grinding. But now is the perfect time to explain the Geometry Dash grinding phase of hell. Yes, I'm really good at naming things, trust me. This mainly happens when I grind a difficult level, so I think this is the perfect time to explain this. Firstly, I would slowly get progress on the level and get pretty close to beating the level. On this case, I got 75%, then 80% as my new best. I was just 20% away from beating the level. But after that, progress would stop completely. In this phase, I wouldn't even get close to beating my PB. And this phase will go on for multiple hours, some lasting until the next day. Then, after lots of grinding, I somehow slowly get consistent again. Then, eventually, beat the level after an extra hour of grinding. This would also happen on other levels that are way more difficult than Club Step, like AQ, Aftermath, Ice Carbon Diablo X, and many other levels. Because I was in the no progress phase, I was so demotivated to play Club Step. But I knew I couldn't stop here. I kept on pushing myself to the absolute limits. Then on this attempt, I got through all the difficult sections of the level, like the first ship, the mini UFO section, and the ship with the gravity changes. I just had to do the final ship and I would beat the level, right? 98%. This was devastating more than anything. I came extremely close to beating it, but failed so close to the finish line. I really wanted to quit. I mean, I just got 98%, and I knew that I won't even get close to 98 for like an extra 20 minutes. But I kept on going, hoping to at least get past 80%. But sadly, no progress seemed to happen. I was forced to quit because it was late at night, and I went to bed feeling defeated. The next day after school, I went straight into grinding club step. I was more determined than ever. I knew that if I stopped grinding now, I wouldn't beat the level. I poured in minutes and minutes, even hours of grinding. And after 2 hours of grinding, I would realize that all of the suffering and all of the grinding was all worth it. I finally beaten Clubstep. I won! After all the suffering and dying at 98%, I finally beaten the demon I wanted. After beating Clubstep, I was beating random demons like Demon Mix, Permafrost Mountain, Shiver, Platinum Adventure, etc. I also would beat 2 platforming demons, which is pretty cool I guess. But these were easy demons, not even close to Clubstep's difficulty. I knew that it was time to move on. So on January 31st, I decided to beat a new hardest. The level is Theory of Everything 2. So, Theory of Everything 2 is actually a pretty special demon for me. It was the first demon that I actually made progress every time, unlike Clubstep, and the completion video of this is actually the first Geometry Dash video I've uploaded to this channel. Anyways, at 5:45 PM, my personal best was at 50%. Guess what my PB was after an hour? Do you have your guess? Well, here's the answer. Whoa, okay, let's go back. So, a minute after getting 50%, I got 51%, and 8 minutes after, I got 57%. I was getting new bests really quickly compared to Clubstep, which motivated me even more. Then I got 67%, then 73%, then 84%. All in under 40 minutes. I knew that if I play for just a little bit, I could beat the level, assuming that the no progress phase didn't hit me. And after around 500 attempts, I beat it. Yes! 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 What the fuck? At this point, I've been in Clubstep and Theory of Everything 2, and I already knew what level to beat next. You might have already guessed, but it's Deadlock. Deadlocked is the hardest main level and the final level I had to beat to officially have beaten all the main levels. So, only 5 days after beating Theory of Everything 2, I started grinding Deadlock. I didn't grind the level for long this day since I started grinding pretty late at night, but I was still making a lot of progress. My personal best went from 21% to 59%, which is pretty insane. But the sad thing is, the hardest parts of Deadlocked are past 59%, so it was no time to celebrate. On the next day, I grinded the level for a pretty long time, and got a new best of 73% and the run of 72 to 100. I had the level in 2 runs, and I knew that if I grind more, I could potentially beat the level. I just had to lock in and pray that the no progress phase doesn't hit me. But on day 3 of grinding, I was consistently getting past 50%, and guess what? After a long time of grinding, it happened. I finally beaten Deadlocked, marking this the day I've beaten all the main levels. I've dreamt about this for so long, so I was very happy to finally achieve this. So, what's next? you may ask? The answer is star grinding and beating demons. These two things were my top priority on Geometry Dash at the time, since I was demotivated to actually go for a new hardest. On this time period, I've beaten quite a lot of easy demons like XFB2, I do not know how to pronounce this, Retro Circles, and like 50 platformer demons, which shouldn't even be demons in my opinion. They were just way too easy for an easy demon platformer. I kept on grinding day after day, but on March of 2025, I took a break from Geometry Dash. Again, sure, I was building and uploading levels like Clutterfunk 2 and Cycles 2, which are a remix of the level, but at the time, I was kinda into Hypixel Bed Wars, so I was playing Geometry Dash less and less, and I also got tired of star grinding, since most of the levels I played back then have the most basic decoration ever. The final demon that I beat was Clutterfunk V2 on March 6th, and I would go on to take a long break after this. But on March 30th, I decided to come back to Geometry Dash since I got pretty bored of Bed Wars. And even though I haven't been playing the game for about 3 weeks, I was surprisingly still doing pretty good in my opinion. I was still beating pretty difficult demon levels like I Spy with my little eye and X. I was pretty surprised that I can beat levels like this despite not playing the game for so long. And on April 6th, I was choosing what demon to beat next. I didn't want the level to be my new hardest, but still challenging so I can hopefully regain my skill sets that I lost during the break. And after a while of scrolling through the uploaded level section, I found the perfect level. The level that revolutionized my entire Geometry Dash career and the main reason that I've gotten here in the first place. The level is Decode. So for my experience while trying to beat this level, I actually already made a video about this. It's the infamous Decode video. I won't tell you what my experience on Decode was here. The video link is going to be in the description. Basically, it was my quote-unquote mental battle since I died so many times past 80 and it crushed me for the first time ever. I know that I was overhyping stuff up even though the level only took me around 400 attempts to beat. Anyways, after beating Decode, someone suggested me to go for a medium demon. But think about it, it would be just so boring if I went for a medium demon. I wanted a challenge. I want to beat a hard demon. So I decided my next demon would be 9 Circles. The main reason why I went for 9 Circles is while I was trying to beat Decode, I changed my FPS from 75 to 360 and changed the key that I use to be my W key on my keyboard instead of my crappy ass mouse. And applying these changes, playing Geometry Dash felt better than ever. The wave felt really easy to control compared to 75, and controlling the ship was way more easier. Because of this, I beat Decode pretty quickly in only around 400 attempts. After beating it, I searched for the perfect level where I can improve my wave skills, and the level I found was 9 Circles. Anyways, let's talk about the progress I made on this level. The next day after going home, I started grinding 9 Circles again. And immediately after I started grinding, I got 39 to 70. It wasn't a run to 100, but it was pretty good for me back then, since I got through most of the wave section. After that, I decided to grind the level from 0, hoping to get a new best. And only 9 minutes after getting 39 to 70, I got a new best of 67%. And I even got 67 to 100, making me have the level in 2 runs. I kept on going after that, and after a while, I got a new best of 70%. Progress was extremely quick, and I was motivated more than ever. After a while, I got 77%, finally reaching the upside down mini wave section, which is the hardest part of the wave section in my opinion. But to be honest, I really expected myself to die past 77%, since I didn't really get consistent on this part, and I usually die past 90 on demons. But my hard work paid off, because this happened. I fluked the entire final cube, beating the level in only 2,000 attempts. Other than that, this was a jump from Deadlocked, a tier 5 level. If you didn't know, 9 Circles is a tier 11, so this was a 6 tier jump. I was extremely happy that I beat my first hard demon. After beating 9 Circles, I went ahead and beat other Circles levels like Problematic, Paracosm Circles, and Jawbreaker, my second hard demon. And fun fact, I used to think Jawbreaker was my hardest since the level was more annoying than 9 circles in my opinion, but I checked the GDDL, Geometry-Demon Ladder, and turns out this level was not my hardest. Really sad since I spent a lot of time trying to beat this garbage, but it's still good progress, so I didn't really care that much. I also beat some other difficult demons like Grey Trap with these absolutely ridiculous asymmetrical duo sections, Scoop and Egg, which was pretty fun to beat, and How to Platform It, which is still my platform hardest to this day. But on the start of May, I decided that 9 circles was not enough. I needed more. So I started grinding a level which would become my new hardest. The level is Thermodynamics. This level is heavily ship based, which was perfect for me since I was pretty bad at ship back then. So I started grinding the level. I didn't post any progress on the Discord server, so there isn't really anything interesting to tell you here. There isn't even a completion video for this since my dumbass forgot to click record. But the only thing that I can be certain about is the grinding experience felt like absolute hell. Do you know how many times I died past 80? 24 times! And guess what my first death is? It's 97, bro! I crashed out multiple times while trying to beat this level, but I was pretty happy after I beat it. Nonetheless, I beat in a new hardest. Even if it's only by 1 tier, I was still pretty happy. After that, I went on a massive demon grinding spree. I was beating demons left and right. Most of them were easy demons, but still, it was a demon nonetheless. Here's a little quiz. Guess how many demons I've beaten on May 24th, 2025? Got your guess? The answer is 11. At this point in my GD career, I had 96 demons completed. My 100 demon was getting extremely close, only being 4 demons away. And I decided to beat a new hardest on Demon 100. But the thing is, I actually did not beat a new hardest. I got too impatient and started grinding a new hardest, and I beat it as my 98th demon, 2 demons before my 100. You might be wondering, what's this new hardest you've been talking about? Well, the level is Crazy by DabJT. Once again, I didn't post any progress in my Discord server, so the actual progress rate is unknown. But this time, grinding felt actually good, and I had fun beating it. I was getting runs to 100 pretty quickly and consistently, and going from 0 wasn't that bad. Yeah, sure, I may or may not have died a lot of times at the ending, my furthest death being 94, but none of that matters since I'm already used to it at this point because of a certain level. I wonder what that is, bruh. Anyways, after that, I would beat Firefall, not Flamewall, as my 100th demon, and go on to beat more demons. The notable ones are Explorers, the online level, not the main level, if that's even released. Electrodynamics V2, which gave me Thermodynamics PTSD since it's Electrodynamics, and Cluster Dynamics. Dude, what the hell are these names, bro? Anyways, I was getting pretty bored of beating easy demon levels since they were starting to become really repetitive. I wanted to go for a new hardest, but I didn't know what demon to beat. I wanted to go for Future Funk, but the asymmetrical duel and the fact that the level was 4 minutes long really didn't motivate me enough to actually go for this level. Maybe Forsaken Neon, but I didn't really like the weird gameplay, especially this cute part in the middle. Maybe Forest Temple, but the level is pretty bad. I probably would go for, yes, I choose Forest Temple as my new hardest. What a dumb decision I made. Oh my god. I'm not trying to hate on Michigan itself. I mean, being top 1 on the leaderboards is really insane. But the thing is, his gameplay is pretty weird. This ship part on Forest Temple sucks, Water Temple sucks, especially the ship and UFO, and don't even get me started on his part on Bloodbath. It's just weird for some reason. Well, my experience on this level was pretty weird. At the start, it felt kind of good grinding this level, since all the parts that I was grinding were before the weird ship section, which I really hated. But going from 0 felt like absolute hell. Every time I got past the first cube, I would just die to the weird ship part, really ruining my consistency. And every time I passed the weird ship section, I would die to the wave, to the weird ship, or to the UFO. Because of me messing up my click pattern and the hitboxes being just total garbage. I grinded for like 2 hours, but beating this level still felt like an impossible task. I even died on 89%, the final cube section. But I knew I couldn't stop there. If I wanted to beat this, I had to lock in. And after 3 hours and 1,640 attempts, it happened. I finally beat Forest Temple. I was really happy to get free from this one heck of a level, since the level is actual piece of shit. After beating Forest Temple, I was pretty satisfied, but for some goddamn reason, I wanted more. I've already beaten a new hardest. What am I doing, bro? I wanted to go for another hardest, but this time, not a hard demon. That would be lame. I wanted to go for an insane demon. The level is none other than Windy Landscape. So, Windy Landscape, huh? This was a wild journey. So, let's get into it. About 3 or 4 hours after beating Forest Temple, I grinded Windy Landscape, trying to get a run from around 60 to 100. And eventually, I got the run. But this actually felt way too easy. I was kind of underestimating the difficulty of this level. I kept on going, hopefully to get a new best run. And after a lot of grinding, my best run for day 1 was 34 to 100 and 27 to 85. I was progressing extremely quickly, and this motivated me so much that I thought I could beat this in the next day pretty quickly. And yes, I beat it the next day. But was it quick, you may ask? Absolutely not. Anyways, as soon as I woke up, I started grinding the level, and I immediately got 27 to 100. It has only been like 20 minutes since I've started grinding, so I was pretty confident after getting that run. After I got that run, I decided to go from 0 to try and get the level in 2 runs, and not long after, I got 30%, officially getting the level in 2 runs. But while trying to get 30%, I kept dying to the 27% ship, and after like a while of practicing the ship and getting consistent on it, I got 32%. This doesn't seem like much, but I was getting through the 27% ship more often because of my practice. While trying to get a new best after getting 32, I used Jade the Ninja's icons as a joke because I was low-key getting bored of looking at the same icons for so long. And after like 5 minutes of grinding, I passed 32%. I even reached the duel, which was at 40 something. I thought I would die at the beginning of the duel, but somehow I kept on going and managed to get a new best of 61%. This was insane, but this was still pretty far from 100%. So I kept on grinding the level, trying to keep up my consistency. But this was the moment where the no progress phase started. I kept on grinding the level, but no matter what I do, I just couldn't even get close to reaching 61%. But eventually, I would pass 61% and get a new best of 79%. But I knew this was no time to celebrate. I had to keep on grinding. Eventually, my grinding paid off, and soon, I would get a new personal best of 85%, then 86%. I was pretty close to beating it, and attempt by attempt, I was getting more consistent. I felt like I could beat this level at any moment, and well, all of that paid off, because this happened. Windy Landscape 100%. 2 new hardests in 2 days. I have finally beaten my first insane demon, and I was really happy. The journey to beat Windy Landscape was finally over. After beating Windy, I would take a break from beating difficult demons in general, and keep grinding easy ones. The notable ones that I beat are Sidestep, Electronic Club Step, and Crazy Bolt, all of them being easy demons. But after a bit, my motivation to beat difficult demons came back. But this time, it wasn't the same as usual. Most people at this point go for another insane demon as their new hardest, but I wanted something interesting. I decided to go for an extreme demon. This was pretty risky since if I fail, I would probably quit the game entirely. But I decided to take the risks and actually go for this level. The level is AQ. This level is a pretty learning level, so I spent 3 entire days just learning the different parts. This seemed like I over-practiced the level, but spending this long on the learning level really made me consistent. Windy Landscape, 9 Circles, Forest Temple, and other levels are actually skill-based in my opinion, so I didn't have to practice for like multiple days. But for AQ, it was a completely different story. On September 2nd, I started grinding the level, and I was getting new best runs pretty often. First, I got 80 to 100, then 75 to 100, and 71 to 100. I was getting new best runs really quickly, and after more practicing, my best run for that day was 65 to 100 and 63 to 89. This might not seem that much, but my hardest was still a beginner insane demon, so considering that, this is pretty good in my opinion. The next day, I didn't grind as much compared to the first day. I only grinded for about an hour, but I got a new best run, which is 59 to 100. This really motivated me to actually take on the level, and I would even get more consistent. On the third day, I grinded the level for about 3 hours. This is 3 times more than yesterday, and because of this, I would get a new best run of 48 to 100 and 41 to 89. I was slowly but surely learning the level and getting consistent on it. I actually felt like I was going to beat it. It was now day 4 of grinding, but this day, not only did I get a new best run, I would get this insane new best from 0. After only 4 hours of grinding, my best run was 30 to 100, and I even got 69% as my new best, meaning that I now had the level in 2 runs. But that didn't stop my grinding session, as 30 minutes later, I would get 71%. I felt like I would beat this today. I mean, I had 71% as my new best, so surely I can beat it in like a few minutes, alright? But sadly, that didn't happen. The no progress phase just hit. And because of this, for the entire grinding session, I just couldn't get past 71. I kept on grinding and grinding, but nothing seemed to work. It was 12 AM that day, so I went to bed feeling defeated more than ever. But my motivation to beat AQ didn't fade away. It is now the 5th and hopefully the final day. I had to beat this. I grinded the level like my life actually depends on it. I grinded for hours and hours, and on this attempt, it seemed like I would break through and beat it. Seemed. %92%. I was just honestly shocked. 8% away from the finish line, but I choked. This almost made me drop the level for the day. But I knew I couldn't stop here. I had to lock in. But progress was still very slow. I kept dying at 71% because of this very awkward wave click, which really blocked my progression. Even if I practiced this one single click a lot of times, I just couldn't get through the 71% click, but I kept pushing through. I knew that eventually the time would come, and sure it did. As after 9,000 attempts and 5 entire days of grinding, this happened. Yes! 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 I beat AQ! I beat AQ! Oh my god! I finally beat AQ. I was happy more than anything in my GD career. I finally beat my first extreme demon, which is one of my life goals. After beating AQ, I didn't actually beat any difficult demons. I was mainly beating random easy demons and some platformer levels. I even beat 2 platform insane demons, which is pretty cool I guess. Also, on August 12th, I would release my first ever platformer level, Rainbow Metropolis. This is one of my best levels ever, and I was so happy to finally get this level done. But sadly, a major problem that would stop me from progressing any further started to arise. So while beating these easy demons, I started to notice a major problem. My keyboard started to malfunction. As I mentioned in the 9 circle section, while I was beating decode, I switched to using my W key instead of my mouse. And over time, my W key started to not function correctly. Sometimes my input isn't even going through, and other times, my W key would register the click, but after a really long delay. Because of this, I was struggling to get runs on demons I wanted to beat, like Cataclysm, Crazy 2, and also prevented me from doing straight flying, which was a major issue, since most of the levels that I wanted to beat had at least one straight fly section. I would realize that I needed to change my keyboard in order to progress even further. So on August 19th, 2025, I switched to a sail device. This was perfect for me back then, and because of this change, I would progress super quickly. After getting my seal device, I played some demon levels using it. At first, I didn't notice any difference, but I would know for sure that getting a seal device was actually worth it. After a bit of using my seal device, I decided to go for demons that I dropped due to my malfunctioning keyboard. The first one being Crazy 2. And to be honest, I thought I would still struggle like usual, but this time, things felt different. I've beaten Crazy 2, Poltergeist, Stalemate, Magma Bout, and Night Terrors all in a span of under a week. This is absolutely crazy, since just a few days ago, I couldn't even beat these levels. Although this was already insane, I didn't stop yet. I would go on and beat more difficult demons like Future Funk, Theory of Everything 2v2. What the hell is that name, bro? And Forsaken Neon. I was beating difficult demons left and right, but it was at this point that I decided it was time to change. It was time to go for a new hardest. The level is Cataclysm. On September 1st, I would start taking Cataclysm seriously. Cataclysm is a pretty interesting level. The first half is way difficult compared to the second half. I mean, this wave is too easy for an extreme demon. So getting 50 to 100 was pretty easy, but getting a run from around 20 felt impossible. But I kept on grinding and eventually I would get a new best run, which is 39 to 100. This run may seem impressive. I mean, I basically beat it 60% of the level, but the hardest parts are actually before 39%, like the first wave and this ball. So difficulty wise, it's not that difficult, but I was still happy nonetheless. After that, I thought of practicing the wave, ball, and the UFO, but I was too impatient to practice any of these parts. So I went straight from zero, thinking that I'll become consistent at the beginning relatively quickly. But soon, I would realize that this was actually one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. So, because I haven't practiced the first wave and ball, beating this level felt like absolute hell. I would pass the first wave 10 to 20% of the time just to die in the ball, which frustrated me so much. Sometimes I died in the UFO, sometimes I died to the awkward transition on this ship section, and no matter how long I spent going from zero, I just couldn't get to the second half of the level. The more I died before the second half, the more I got frustrated and made me play worse, and the cycle just never ends. I kept on grinding just like I did with Clubstep and other levels, but soon I realized that this wouldn't work if I keep doing this. I knew that if I wanted to beat the level, I had to somehow escape from this spiral of absolute hell. I needed a solution now. So, I took an hour break from the level. This may seem like a stupid decision, but surprisingly, this helped me very much, as after taking a break, I started to do way better. After the break, I felt motivated to beat this level. I practiced the wave and ball, making sure that I got consistent on it. And doing that absolutely paid off, because I was getting close to beating the level pretty often. And also, because of the break, I wasn't actually crashing out every time I die. This made my experience way better, and I can be sure that this was worth it. Nonetheless, I still had to keep grinding, and after grinding for so long, and after 6,000 attempts, I would break through my limits. Yes! I did it! I did it! Let's go! Let's go! Oh my god! Wait.
Beat us today, bro. I knew you could beat us today,
Oh my god! Yes!
I knew it!
I finally have beaten Cataclysm, my new hardest after 2 months. After that, my demon grinding did not stop, as on the next day, I would beat Super Mario Wave, an insane demon. This surprisingly took me less than 500 attempts, which is actually pretty good in my opinion. This gave me a lot of motivation to beat other insane demons, which really helped as I would go and beat 2 insane demons that I previously thought to be impossible for me to complete. These two demons are Acropolis and Supersonic. So the reason that I avoided these two demons is I just hate 0.5x speed gameplay, which Acropolis has. In fact, the entire level is 0.5x speed. And 2, Supersonic has two different asymmetrical duel sections, one being a cube one and one being a ball one. But I was now confident and skilled enough to actually stand a chance against these demons. And sure enough, I beat both of them. Acropolis took me 1,400 attempts, and Supersonic took me 1,600. But I knew that this was no time to celebrate, as behind the scenes, I was practicing a level that would become my new hardest and absolutely shatter my limits if I beat it. So fun fact, I was actually trying to go for Allegiance as my new hardest, since it's slightly harder than Cataclysm, but that's just boring. I wanted an actually difficult challenge. So I decided to go for none other than Bloodbath. So the journey to beat Bloodbath dates back to June 22nd. At the time, I was playing this level mostly for fun, and I never expected myself to beat this. I mean, back then, my hardest was Windy Landscape. Anyways, on the same day, I got a run of 54 to 78. This might seem impressive, but 70% of this run is, in my opinion, the easiest part of the level, which is a Sonic Men's part. Even though I wasn't actually going for the level, I would play Bloodbath for fun once in a while. On July 2nd, I got 70 to 81 and some other runs, but it was only until the start of September where I would take Bloodbath seriously. On September 3rd, I would try to actually get good runs this time, and luckily, progress would happen really quickly. Back then, I was struggling to even beat Ezra's section, mostly because of me not having the skill to do so back then, but now, I was getting 70 to 100 really quickly. After that, I kept on grinding the level, even getting 54 to 100. But getting this run didn't feel that difficult. I decided to try and get 41 to 100. 41 is the start of Crack's part, which has these insane straight fly sections, as I wanted an actual challenge while trying to beat this level. At first, I was struggling to consistently execute the straight fly since it was pretty weird in my opinion, but after about 30 minutes, I got really consistent on it, and eventually, I got 41 to 100% on Bloodbath. But I knew this was no time to stop. Getting this run only once didn't make me confident enough to actually take on this demon. So I kept on grinding, trying to get 41 to 100 once again. And eventually, I would get 41 to 100 once again. And this made me pretty confident enough to actually go from 0 this time. But I didn't know at the time that the experience will feel like hell. So going from 0 felt like absolute hell, because most of the time I kept dying to none other than Michigan's part. This part alone frustrated me more than anything in this level because of the weird gameplay. The UFO part especially made me frustrated since the weird timing of the clicks made me inconsistent on this UFO section alone. The thing is, every time I passed Vermilion's part, which still made me frustrated because of the annoying ball timings, I would die to Michigan's part 80% of the time, which really stopped me from getting new best and kept making me frustrated. Because of this, I would take a break from the level multiple times during the same day, and the only times I played Bloodbath, I wasn't even taking it seriously. But on September 4th, I would get a new best, which made me motivated to take on this demon once and for all. 60%. This was out of nowhere. Previously, my best was at 41%, but somehow I fluked the entirety of Crack's part and managed to get 60%. I was honestly shocked. But after this, I wouldn't get a new best for a very long period of time. After getting 60%, I would sometimes go from 0 but fail miserably because I kept dying to Michigan's part. This would go on for days. It was starting to get really annoying, but it was at this point that I realized I had to focus. I've gotten 60% and numerous best runs. If I backed out here and dropped Bloodbath, all of this would go to waste. This was also one of my life goals on Geometry Dash. If I wanted to complete this goal, dropping the level was not an option for me. So, on September 13th, I decided it was time to change. It was time to lock in. On the same day where I decided to take Bloodbath seriously, I got two new bests, 75% and 81%. This felt unreal. I was actually progressing through Bloodbath. I might actually be my life goal once and for all. But behind all of this, I was kind of worried. I was worried that the no progress phase would hit me. The reason that I was worried about this is if this thing hit me now, I wouldn't even consider beating it in the first place. I was even worried about actually playing the level at one point, but I still needed to beat this demon eventually. on September 13th, 2025, and after 11,000 attempts, history was made. Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I beat it! Yes! Yes!
Oh my god!
Yes! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! I have finally beaten Bloodbath, my dream demon. You remember what I mentioned about me saying I probably won't beat Bloodbath? Well, it has now been proven wrong. To this day, this is still my hardest, and I am very proud of this achievement. So, beating the Apocalyptic Trilogy was also one of my life goals other than Bloodbath. And I had 2 of the 3 levels beaten, which are Cataclysm and Bloodbath. So, the remaining level that I have to beat is Aftermath. So, most of the interesting things happened after me dying at 94%. Everything before that went really smoothly, with me getting new best runs pretty often. Anyway, let me talk about my experience after getting 94%. Getting 94% itself was already pretty devastating for me, since that was the easiest part in my opinion, and I never expected myself to die there in the first place. But still, that didn't stop me from trying to beat this level. I kept on grinding and grinding for multiple hours, but during all this grinding, my consistency was an all-time low. I wasn't getting past the wave most of the time, and matter of fact, I never even gotten past the shift section at the drop. And the fact that this went on for multiple hours really crushed me. At some point, I was not even doing the first ship consistently. That day, I went to bed feeling defeated and regretful more than ever, even more than what I had with Kulafstep after dying on 98%. On the next day, I grinded Aftermath immediately after I got home from school. I started by trying to get consistent at the ship at the drop, and after 30 minutes of practicing the ship part, I felt confident enough to beat this level, and I decided to go from 0. But even though I had practiced the ship a lot, going from 0 still felt like hell. I mostly died to the first wave, the ball after it, and the ship at the drop. These 3 sections killed 90% of my attempts, which really made me demotivated and frustrating at the same time. No matter what I did, I just couldn't get consistent on any of these parts. But I kept on pushing myself to the limits. Every time I felt like I wanted to quit, I grinded even more. And after all of that and 5 hours of grinding, this happened.
No.
95%. This crushed me more than anything in my Geometry Dash career. Even after all that practicing, all that suffering, and all that grinding, I couldn't even beat the level. But that wasn't enough to stop me. I kept on grinding and grinding, and on this attempt, history was once again made. Yes! 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 Oh! Yes! 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 After all of the suffering, I have finally beaten Aftermath, and also the entire Apocalyptic Trilogy, meaning that I've completed another life goal of mine. So, Aftermath was my 198 demon, meaning that my 200 demon was getting pretty close, and I wanted my 200 demon to be a special and actually difficult one, not like my 100 demon, which is just a random easy demon. So, after being stereo demonist as my 199 demon, I would go and beat Ice Carbon Diablo X, one of the most legendary levels, as my 200 demon. I was really proud and tired at the same time, since I died at 96 3 entire times, and died multiple times near the end of the level. Nonetheless, I finally had 200 demons beaten, and now I could take a break. After beating Ice Carbon Diablo X, I would go on and create a level instead of actually grinding them. You may know this, it is Eternal Time. If you didn't know, Eternal Time is a 1.9 style 9 circles level published and created by me, and also one of my best levels in my opinion. I spent well over a month creating this, so I would be extremely happy if you would check it out. The ID is going to be in the description. Anyways, after publishing Eternal Time, I took a break from Geometry Dash for about 2 weeks, and to be honest, I was slowly getting tired of Geometry Dash. But on October 16th, I decided it was time to get back on the demon grinding phase. I decided to beat some demons on the Geometry Dash demon progression, since I've lost a bit of my skill because of the break I took. But even though I took a long break, I still managed to beat a lot of medium demons in under 400 attempts. I even managed to beat Water Temple, which is a hard demon, and on October 26, 2025, which is the 1-year anniversary of my Geometry Dash journey, I managed to beat Allegiance, my 5th extreme demon, ending the story of my first year playing this game. Thank you so much for watching the video until at this point. This video took me so long to make, and I appreciate you watching it. And also, thank you to every single person that has supported me through this 1-year journey. It was honestly an insane experience. Anyways, this is the end of the video, and see you guys in the next video. Peace.